Unlock your Unlock your full potential with Brain and Focus, a powerful supplement designed to boost mental clarity, enhance memory, and sharpen concentration. Made from a blend of scientifically proven ingredients like ginkgo biloba, omega-3, and essential vitamins, Brain and Focus is crafted to fuel your mind. Our process ensures maximum potency and effectiveness, delivering the perfect balance of brain-boosting nutrients. Take just one capsule daily, as prescribed by your healthcare provider, and feel the difference. Whether it's powering through your workday or staying sharp in life's challenges, Brain and Focus keeps you at the top of your game. Stay sharp, stay focused, and stay ahead with Brain and Focus. Brain and Focus, fuel your mind, achieve more. Go get this product at blackhotfirenetwork.com at the Sports and Nutrition Store.
Yes, good afternoon, good evening from my end, 35 minutes past the top of the hour, and welcome to the Africa Today show. Hope you guys have been amazing. Hope your day is nice and fair. Mine struggling with a cough. Man, I'm coughing like no man's business, but we keep it pushing. But karibuni sana to have a live.
Because you was in Kibera licking all kind of doodle. Gotta be careful, Joby.
Wow. I'm not even able to eat, man. Since Saturday, I've not been. I've been surviving on porridge after porridge. This is what I've been drinking. Porridge, another porridge, just porridge after porridge. Yeah.
Did you wrap yourself up like I told you? Did you wrap yourself up and let yourself sweat?
Yeah, I did, but man, I think that you're so used to it, Keith. You're a pro on that. Personally, I was dying. I tried.
I told you it's gonna be rough. Yeah, it's not easy. It's gonna be rough.
Yeah, I tried. Even Shimani was giving me another remedy today. I should go try it, and with some is it menthol? Menthol. Yeah, she was telling me to use the menthol.
Yeah, menthol. Yeah, menthol.
Unblock my nose and all that, and really, reduce the head rush that I'm having, all that. But we'll be okay. We'll be okay. But karibuni sana family. Today we shall be having, of course, another amazing conversation. We shall be talking about what happened during the weekend, the protest. Kit, I saw you. Did you have a show during the weekend? I don't know.
No. I never did a show. Yeah, they did a protest. Ain't nobody black show up to none of that shit. That's right. You do your own protest.
Exactly.
You ain't got time. You do your own protest.
Yeah.
You see it was peaceful. You see it was peaceful because there was nobody black there. If black people was there, the police would have got all violated, brutal, started shooting people, hitting people in the head. But see, it was nice and peaceful. It shout out to white people on TikTok telling the truth because there was nobody black there. Like, no, that's your shit. You do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're gonna be discussing about that. Literally, I think we're gonna be winding
Damn,
up.
Well, I'm in El Paso. I think these. Don't tell me these Mexicans don't like no chicken. I'm passing like 100 KFC spots. 100 on both sides of the on the highway. Anywhere I look left and right, there's a KFC. Sheesh. I know.
KFC's
don't tell me these Mexicans. Nah, I don't know about that. I think it tastes like shit, but anyway.
No, but I don't say it's the shit like that, but it is the deal. The deal.
Right.
But yeah, I'll be sharing those videos as we get to continue. But we shall be talking about what I mentioned. We'll talk about today.
When'd you get your hair done, Joby?
On Sunday, since I couldn't make it.
Oh, Sunday. Sunday. Okay, but say when you're trying to get your hair done, okay.
Yeah, I had to look good despite being sick. Looking good is constant. You can't be sick and then still look bad. Match something, like try something, You can't be looking all pale and then still look like on the hair,
Even when you're sick, you said, ladies, even when you're sick, don't worry about looking good.
That's us, that's us, But we'll be talking about the Gilded. Is it the Gilded? The Gilded age, if I'm pronouncing it.
The Gilded age. The Gilded age is from the late 1800s to the early 1900s. Also called the Victorian era, when Queen Victoria was queen. So they coincide. The Gilded age, what we're living through now, even worse, where the rich control everything, called the oligarchy. And at there we can have some power because Franklin Roosevelt, Theodore Roosevelt tried to break it up. That was monopoly. And so all they did was reconstitute again in 1913 with the fake banking scam called the Federal Reserve Bank. So we're back in another Gilded Age times 5.
Excuse me. Yeah, so we'll be talking about that. But before I get to that video, I want to share a video of how literally America, and the Europeans got into wars of colonizing countries. Literally talking about the America greatest economy, and which we know was highly contributed by Black people, which Trump is not talking about that.
The whole economy is built off of black slavery. Now slavery, this country's poor. And then the white people who were given everything when they brought their butts over here because they wanted to come to where the wealth was at because they were poor and wretched in Europe. So all these people that showed up here today were all impoverished in Europe. They were given everything for free in America.
Yeah, so Trump earlier, I bumped into a video about, of course, how, and this is what I'm talking about this, and to do much more research because I wanted to check literally what was the economy between 1870 and the 1900s, what really happened.
That's called the Industrial Revolution. Okay, so you come out of slavery, that's called your Industrial Revolution. Everything's now being industrialized, and all the resources are where, Joby? Where are the resources at?
Africa.
Okay, that's right. So now Europe and America is now becoming industrial. So slavery is now outlawed. And so now they turn to industry. So now you have a technical boom of industry happening to push the top economics forward. So that's when you start getting the Gilded Age, you start getting robber barons, when you get the Rockefellers being born, the Vanderbilts, the DuPonts, and all these families start becoming rich because of the Gilded Age, or what we call the Industrial Revolution, your Carnegies. All these people are becoming industrialists. So it's called the Industrial Revolution. We have cars being made, get another car, Joby, the train, all industries are being made.
Yeah, the railway roads and all that. Yeah, I loved doing this research. It was so nice, and it just reminds me literally, history is really, really beautiful when you learn and understand. It's so nice to learn all these things of what took place and what is happening now.
But you got to know history, Joe, so you know what you're dealing with now. If you don't got a historical foundation, you won't even understand. You won't have a frame of reference, the way to compare what's happening now. Because history always repeats itself. If you know history, you understand, okay, this is about to happen again, because everything is cyclical. Things go around in a circle. So your history repeats itself.
Yep. So let me start with this video here, which is explaining, of course, the starting of America and everything.
Next, we're looking at Europe and America, 1870 to 1900. And you know you're in trouble when I'm only covering 30 years. You notice things have been accelerating. The Renaissance, couple of hundred years. We're doing multiple chapters over that period. Now we're doing a chapter over 30 years. So things are moving. And
when he pause that, and when is European pause that, Joe? And when is European talking about the Renaissance is fake. They completely admit there was no Renaissance. The Moors came into Europe, conquered Europe, and taught the white people how to bathe, read, write. But they take that out of history. They now rename it, Joby, the Renaissance. Like they're relearning from Greek. No, it was the African. It was no Renaissance or enlightening. Because they never had any damn science to begin with. They completely whitewashed history. It's the African that taught them, but they renamed that, called that the Renaissance in their history books. Go ahead, Joe.
Historical context as well. For example, we're going to see the spread of the Industrial Revolution. Now, we've dealt with that since the 18th century, but as we get into this period, 1870, 1880, you see it's massively spreading across Europe. Now, this map is really a broad generalization, but you get the idea. Now, the Industrial Revolution will only spread into the U.S. about 1860. The Civil War really pushes us into industrialization. So we're going to see that here as well. You're going to see increasing urbanization. Now, we don't need as many people on the farm. There have been agricultural technologies that have allowed people to move into the cities to look for their fortune, as it were. We will also see more jobs in the cities. Of course, that's where most of the manufacturing, most of the factories are going to be. We're going to see the rise of Marxism.
So this is when America becomes a manufacturing power, a giant. No more. This was America was becoming the manufacturing giant on the planet. Go ahead, Joe.
Industrialization, and we have the development of a true working class, which exists outside of the small urban centers that you might have seen in the Renaissance. You know, you had Florence and Rome and that sort of thing, but they're not that big compared to what we're getting into here at the end of the 19th century. So with the rise of a larger and larger working class and the rise of urbanization, which allows these ideas to spread, you see the rise of Marxism. We will also see the rise of Darwinism, which takes on multiple forms, such as social Darwinism, which plays a role in imperialism. So these two will play together very, very closely. Darwinism, more specifically, social Darwinism.
Social Darwinism is fake, and even social Darwinism saying white man on top, black people on the bottom. This is where you start getting your racism. Because they already had it, but they were now trying to codify it through their fake science, through evolution, which is Darwinism, is evolution, and social Darwinism is another crazy thing. That white's supposed to be on the top and black's supposed to be on the bottom. Go ahead, Joe.
Solution to societies states that if your country is not currently growing, then it must be dying, which brings us to imperialism, where the great European nations, using Darwinism as one of the bases for why they're going to go out and colonize, will go into another round of imperialization. But here, instead of colonizing primarily the New World, we're going to see colonization primarily in Africa, Asia, and the Pacific. And these colonies are going to be massive in some cases. The Congo will be taken over by Belgium. The Congo will be 50 times the size of Belgium itself. And they're not that keen on waffles. So why the Belgians are there, no one's really sure. But basically, they're looking for
you say nobody's really sure. It's not because it's wealthy. All this nonsense. They're not really sure while they're in Belgium, while they're in the Congo. They're because it's wealthy. You talk about nobody knows. Everybody knows why the European came to Africa.
The wealth.
Want resources, and we have a lot of resources in Africa that aren't being used all that much. They look at India the same way. They will try and cut up China in a very similar way. We will see some colonies continuing in the Americas, but with the advent of the United States and the Monroe Doctrine, unless the colony already existed, they can't have new colonies. The U.S. will become a world power. This happens because of the Civil War. How does it happen? Well, basically, during the Civil War, the U.S. builds up the largest navy the world has ever seen, the largest standing army the world has ever seen, which we saw alluded to in Winslow Homer's A Veteran in a New Field. And so this becomes a huge issue. The United States is suddenly a major military power with full industrialization. Everyone kind of sees that. And so they become a major world power slowly, but that is where they're headed. When you get to the Spanish-American War, 1898, that's where the U.S. really comes onto the world stage. France will start to stabilize. It has been unstable for quite some time here, really starting around the middle of the 18th century, all the way up to about 1870. 1870 is the Franco-Prussian War. Basically, the Germans, who have just unified, decide the best idea is to go ahead and invade France. And it's an amazingly fast war. It's about 6 weeks. Just before they conquer Paris, the French will surrender. And this will actually cause some stabilization. The French people sit there and go, no, this is ridiculous. We've been at war constantly for the last 150 years. We need to slow down. So we will see increasing stability following the Franco-Prussian War. And we see the development of nationalism. Nationalism is this idea that you identify with your nation rather than with your home. So, for example, today, if we were to take you back 200, 300 years, you might identify not as an American, but as someone from Madison or someone from Wisconsin or maybe a Midwesterner. But you don't generally identify by a country. That's just not done. So throughout the end of the 19th century, these countries are going to work hard to get their people to nationalize. And part of the way we do that, at least in the United States, is the development of the Pledge of Allegiance. You start singing the Star-Spangled Banner on a regular
propaganda.
basis. All of these ideas that develop a identity which is American as opposed to Wisconsin or Madison or whatever neighborhood you're from. This causes a big problem because what it does is the easiest way to create nationalism is through exceptionalism. Basically, we are better than everyone else, so identify as American. The problem is you start looking down on everyone else, and this will lead to much of the war and instability that we're going to see when we get into the early 20th century. But with all of this in mind, let's turn to the art.
Yeah, so we have nationalism, we have France being stabilized, we have America becoming the greatest world economical, literally, country, or the greatest country by that time. We have them colonizing, going to countries, colonizing, taking, of course, over, marking territories and all that. It's amazing to know all that. And then now we have, from there, since we know what Civil War, what it led to, now we have the Gilded Age. We have the Gilded Age, which explains literally, of course. We have the Rockefellers, how they took control of oil, took control of power. And so many people have been mentioned there. I don't even know them. I don't know if they're part of the Hut or which part of the group they really are. But let me share this as well.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Yes, they are part of that.
This video
Yes, they are.
is brought to you by Captivating History. The Gilded Age is often seen as a high point in America's history. Characterized by the rise of the industrialized economy after the Civil War, it was a time when American business took off on a grand scale, making several notable business people extremely wealthy. However, although the Gilded Age is remembered as a time of great affluence, it was also a time of great inequality and corruption. Even the phrase, the Gilded Age, was taken from a satirical novel by Mark Twain, published in 1873. It is supposed to imply that something that appears golden on the surface may be corrupt underneath. Shortly after the end of the American Civil War in 1865, the U.S. underwent an enormous burst of economic activity brought about by a wave of industrialization during the renewed peace. The Gilded Age normally refers to this prosperous period between 1870 and 1900, which overlaps with the latter part of the Reconstruction. While the Civil War had some devastating effects on the U.S., it also inaugurated important changes, including the spread of the telegraph and a major expansion of the railways. Within a few years of the end of the war, America also began to experience a period of major economic growth. While the industrial period had begun in Great Britain in the 18th century, America experienced its most intense period of industrial development during the late 19th century. In many ways, America had been long destined for the spectacular spurt of economic growth, blessed with a continent of valuable resources, including coal and oil and many useful agricultural products. In fact, after the war, many European investors saw the U.S. as a good bet for business, and soon a wave of money poured in from abroad. As well as attracting investors, America also went through one of its biggest ever waves of migration, which more than doubled the U.S. population. Up to this point, most Americans had roots in England, Scotland, and Wales. But the late 19th century saw many more immigrants
Pause that,
from the rest of the world.
pause that, Joby. Now they're telling you, you white people from BitChute, you wasn't here. Like I always tell you, there's a wave of migration that came in. That's where the majority of you white people showed up. But the country was already wealthy. And we're going to an industrial age. Okay, you wasn't here. So when you think that our founding fathers, you wouldn't have nothing to do with the building of this country. This when the majority you got here. Okay? This is where you never even taught this in your history. You seem to think you go back to the beginning of the country. You don't. You don't. You just got here 2 days ago. Okay? You had nothing to do with the building of the greatness, nothing to do why it's got rich, nothing. And you scream about Africans, why you African? You ain't built the country. We built every damn part of this damn place. You was not here. Oh, you keep talking about, yeah, I can trace my history back to the beginning. You're a damn lie. Because the majority wasn't, like this man told you. But I've been told you that. You wasn't here. That's just a fact. But go ahead, Joe.
World, producing a much more diverse nation. As more visitors arrived and more industries expanded, the U.S. became much more urban, and many more towns and cities sprawled across the nation. This was the era of the world's first skyscrapers, when skylines began to climb higher and higher. In particular, the East Coast blossomed due to its many trading ports, and the Great Lakes region became the beating heart of the industrial boom. Chicago was one of the great cities of the age, becoming both a major railroad hub and a truly international city that attracted visitors worldwide. Cities grew off the back of new industries, and the Gilded Age is often remembered for some of its most important businessmen, many of whom became extremely wealthy at this time. The late 19th century was the age of capital, a time when private corporations rose to prominence as wealthy men invested in large-scale industries and reaped great dividends. The American colonies themselves had been partially founded by private enterprises who raised capital from their investors, giving the U.S. a strong capitalist instinct quite early in its history. The American government continued to push a pro-business stance in the 19th century, allowing private companies to develop the major infrastructure projects the nation needed. The Gilded Age presidents were often said to be remarkably unmemorable, as they, by and large, took a hands-off approach to governance. As industrialization produced many more opportunities for these kinds of private businesses, America ballooned into the world's foremost capitalist power. The downside of this economic boom was that the few people who had enough money to invest in large-scale business enterprises tended to buy up most of their competition. Soon, multiple large monopolies had formed, undermining the spirit of healthy competition. The most well-remembered and notorious of these large monopolies were the Rockefeller oil monopoly, the Vanderbilt railroad monopoly, and the Carnegie steel monopoly. Carnegie Steel later became the J.P. Morgan steel monopoly, after the well-known banker, which bought Carnegie out for $480 million. J.P. Morgan, in particular, was also one of the Gilded Age's most famous moneymen, one of the wealthy bankers who made New York exceedingly rich by investing in businesses across the U.S. While these grand businessmen are often still remembered as great American heroes or captains of industry, others describe these business moguls in less flattering terms, dubbing them the robber barons of the Gilded Age. While some of these tycoons, such as Andrew Carnegie, spent millions on philanthropic projects, most robber barons were infamously ruthless and corrupt. For example, the Wall Street and railroad mogul James Fisk was famously involved in several shady practices, from extortion to bribery to risky market manipulation. Although by 1890, the Sherman Antitrust Act was passed in an attempt to make the dangerous monopolies these men accrued illegal. The act would have little effect on the monopolies that already existed. It wasn't until the election of Teddy Roosevelt at the end of the Gilded Age in 1901 that at least some of the robber barons' power was broken. Among the most famous of the great tycoons was Cornelius Vanderbilt, a man widely disliked in his lifetime for his cunning business practices. Vanderbilt is important because he was one of the major figures behind the enormous expansion of the railroads in the U.S. The Gilded Age was the golden age of the railway, as trains remained the fastest way to move goods across large areas. In the U.S., the Transcontinental Railroad was revolutionary, as it linked the Atlantic to the Pacific for the first time. When Vanderbilt entered the railroad industry, he was already very wealthy, but he sold his previous businesses to buy up as much rail track as he could. The railroads were particularly vulnerable to being taken over by monopolies because there was a very limited amount of train tracks in any given region. Soon, Vanderbilt could charge his customers extortionate rates, confident that they had no choice but to use his businesses to transport their goods. In response to the eye-watering high fees charged by many railway companies, a collective of farmers known as the Granger Movement campaigned for fairer prices. The Granger Union would go on to have a surprisingly important afterlife, as they would inspire both the People's Party and the Greenback Party, important progressive political movements which campaigned for fairer economic conditions and more economic equality. Economic equality was a hot topic in the Gilded Age. The late 19th century saw progressive workers' movements spread across the industrialized world in a bid to give ordinary people fairer hours, better pay, and safer working conditions in factories that often use dangerous equipment. Unfortunately, many wealthy Americans increasingly believed in the theory of social Darwinism, an ideology that argues poor people deserve to be poor because they are naturally inferior. Tycoons did little to help their workers, often demanding that they work harder for longer to increase output and turn more profit. In response to worsening conditions, many American workers unionized, and the American Federation of Labor that organized these unions was founded in 1886. Other workers took a more radical path, joining more socialist groups and even turning towards anarchism. The U.S. government did little to help the situation, repeatedly halting legislation meant to improve working conditions. Tensions between workers and bosses led to several major disasters in the Gilded Age. In 1886, the Haymarket riot in Chicago led to a series of deaths when workers' peaceful protest turned violent. An unidentified assailant threw a stick of dynamite into the crowd during the gathering in an attempt to hit a police officer. Shooting broke out, resulting in the deaths of many police officers and civilians. A few years later, a similar incident occurred in Pittsburgh in 1892. The so-called Homestead Strike saw a clash between a crowd of Carnegie Steel workers and a group of private militiamen from the Pinkerton Agency, who had been hired to police the crowds. During the violence, Henry Frick, a hated industrialist who violently opposed the unions, was almost assassinated by a disgruntled anarchist. Economic inequality was not the only major social issue of the Gilded Age. It was also a terrible time for race relations. The Native Americans suffered greatly during this period. During the Dakota Gold Rush in 1876, a war broke out between the U.S. government and the Sioux Nation, resulting in the biggest campaign against the Native Americans in U.S. history. 10 years later, in 1886, the last major Native American resistance force, led by Geronimo of the Apache, was finally defeated. The Gilded Age was also a dark time for African Americans. After federal troops withdrew from the South in 1877, the African American population lost its much-needed government protection. Lynching soon became common, with angry mobs of white Southerners accusing African Americans of any manner of crimes.
It's crazy because when I was doing this research and then looking at the cases of lynching men, there's so many that I even thought there's so many, which is so crazy. It is so crazy because I'll be sharing also one of the cases of lynching, of the name of the guy called Reverend Isaac Simon, who was lynched and his land was stolen away from him. We're talking about acres of land, which is so crazy.
Little to no evidence and proceeding to carry out extrajudicial executions. To make matters worse, during the Reconstruction era, the first segregation laws, or Jim Crow, were passed, making Black Americans in the South second-class citizens. Although the 1875 Civil Rights Act had put some protections to prevent discrimination, the act was abolished in 1883. During this period, the enormous wave of immigration also led to a wave of nativism, a form of resentment against migrant workers. Italian and Irish immigrants were particularly picked upon, and in 1882, the Chinese Exclusion Act banned Chinese immigration altogether. While these workers contributed greatly to America's economic boom, many Americans feared losing out to foreign arrivals. Many immigrants in this era inevitably turned towards a growing and corrupt political phenomenon, the political machine. These corrupt organizations were typically found in major cities and bought votes in exchange for favors. The most famous of these political machines was Tammany Hall in New York City, founded in 1786. It would become notorious for corruption by the late 19th century. Political machines thrived during the Gilded Age because they provided opportunities for poorer people and vulnerable migrants. Local politicians would find jobs for newcomers in their wards in exchange for their votes. Political machine bosses often helped immigrants gain their citizenship papers faster, and the jobs they created often provided better living conditions for the people living in their area. Come election day, these faithful patrons would vote, sometimes multiple times, for their valued protectors, securing them political power for years at a time. Although corruption, poor working conditions, and rampant prejudice were all rife during the Gilded Age, it is also a time of great opportunity. Ultimately, the problems of the Gilded Age would lead to another great era in American history, the age of progressive politics, in which reforms rolled back the worst excesses of this grand age of wealth and expansion. To learn more about the Gilded Age, check out our book, The Gilded Age, a captivating guide to an era in American history that overlaps the Reconstruction era and coincides with parts of the Victorian era in Britain, along with the Belle Epoque in France. It's available as an ebook, paperback, and audiobook. Also, grab your free Mythology Bundle ebook while still available. All links are in the description.
Yeah, that is the Gilded Age. And then you look at now, of course, that is breaking down literally the historical moments of America. And that was so great for me to actually know all this, looking at how we had so many people who are full in control, if I'm saying it correctly, who are full in control of America's economy, but due to racism, monopoly, which has been explained very well, imperialism, a whole lot of things, it has led to America what it is today. And as we get literally to understand all that, of course, again, we know there was demonstration that was during the weekend. But like I said, I'm gonna be sharing that, of course, towards the end of the show. But for now, I wanna share this next video here of this guy, the middleman. I love calling him the middleman because that's how he goes by the name on YouTube. Who's explaining literally, of course, again, the tariffs. Looking at that, and then now we have, of course, Trump who's defending the tariffs, and then looking at 1870 to the 1900s, and now looking at now how the tariffs literally are affecting America. Because according to Trump, he says it was all tariff based. That is according to those times.
That was that time when he had see what he's talking about is stupid. We don't have any okay, Joe. He's okay. What he's saying? You got morons running the government. He's an idiot like the other oligarchs. At that time, America was a manufacturing power. It was a giant. There was no China. Well, none of these other countries that can compete with America. So we were a manufacturing giant, and so we had all the industry and all the stuff already put in place here. But they decided, these wicked bastards, we know they are, decided to take all our industries in the late 1980s, early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, and move it all to China. So you can't do tariffs, Joby, when you don't make nothing.
Sure.
Tariffs to who? Tariffs to what? You can't talk. You can't threaten anybody with anything. You gonna put tariffs on what? On who? So
on racism.
And they'll never stop that. That's their main love of life. Nah. So you can't fight the. It's like this is insane. What are you gonna do? The terrorists. This is really the purposeful demolition of the United States of the empire. This is an implosion on purpose, so these individuals can steal everything but the kitchen sink. This is what all this private-public partnership is called, the shock doctrine. Do this for me, Joe, real quick. Look up. So America did this, so they're doing it now for themselves. America exported this thing called the shock doctrine. Go to Google and type in the shock. What is the shock doctrine? Yeah. What is the shock doctrine? And you'll see that's what they're bringing back to the United States, which they implemented all over the world. Anything pop up?
Let me open a link. It's not giving me first page claim
right.
from So let me open another article. This one says the shock doctrine is the rise of disaster capitalism, describes how
Exactly.
modern capitalism thrives on shocks and disasters. A tsunami sweeps across Asia and developers take the chance to clear fishing community off the coast and build luxury hotels. Hurricane devastates Louisiana and well-connected corporations turn body retrieval into a money-making enterprise. There is nothing, it seems, that cannot be exploited to turn a profit. That is what this
Yeah.
article.
So what they're doing? So you're using the shock doctrine to implode the United States. They're going to make a profit. So they're going to steal everything, Joey, while the country's collapsing. They can't save it, but they're going to steal the remaining things that work.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So where will
Yeah.
you be in the next 5 years? That's the question. Where is America going to
Bro,
be in the next 5 years? Just 5 years, not
it's gonna
even
be
10.
it's gonna be a third it's gonna be a third world country. It doesn't have any because all the money has been stripped out of it, and you're ruled by a foreign power, Israel. America's ruled by Israel. That's just no one's denying it no more. I can come. Ain't nobody arguing with me no more when I say that. Any funny? So all our money's been given to Israel. They got free health care. They got free education, college. America's falling apart. It's crumbling. You look at China. China's 30 years ahead, 40 years ahead of America. Flying cars and that because America's now an imploding empire. You can't service the debt. And so we've been out doing all these fake wars for Israel, putting us more and more debt. That our roads are crumbling, our schools suck, we got a crumbling infrastructure. Then we got a crumbling empire. So when the empire starts to crumble, the crooks that destroyed the empire start stealing everything, Joe. They don't understand. They don't have any elite like you're talking about nationalism.
Yeah.
The people that run the world, they don't have any. They don't believe in any nation. They sit outside the nation state. They don't have any loyalty to any nation. They have loyalty to themselves, their family, and their money that they get to steal. They don't have no loyalty or love for the United States. They're kicking the United States to the curb. It served its usefulness, Joby. Now we're going to implode it.
Mm-hmm.
It served its usefulness. That is all filthy. It's all filthy wealthy. And so now we're going to implode it. It's done what it's supposed to do. And now we're going to move to the next country, China, and keep robbing Africa from China.
It's
Go ahead,
crazy.
Jim.
It's crazy, man. It is just crazy. Shout out to Trump, and he still does. During the weekend, we saw he added still more tariffs to China. That is 50%. China said it's not scared of what the U.S. is doing.
You can't hurt China because China is now the manufacturing hub of the world. It's not scared. What would China be scared about? They make everything. You gave that to China. Let's say we didn't give everything. Let's say the hats gave everything to China. They gave you it. How are you going to scare somebody when they make everything, Joe? And what did China? And you know what China just said? China just said, I double dare you to do anything. China, I want you to look this up, Joey, too. China just announced, see, America was known for its intellectual prowess, Joby, making certain things, but and China to allow China to become part of the world trade to make them a power, China had to agree not to steal America's intellectual property, right? Even though they would do it, but they couldn't do it like big out in the open. China now just said, we're going to do it out in the open. Anything you make, we're going to steal it and copy it and put our own version of it out. We're going to steal your shit. So China's not there and sell it cheaper. We're going to steal your stuff and sell it even cheaper.
Yeah, that's what they said. China government says it will fight to the end if the U.S. continues to escalate the trade war after Donald Trump threatened a huge additional tariffs in response to China's retaliatory measures. That was today. China's Commerce Ministry accused the U.S. of blackmail and say that the U.S. president threatens to the additional 50% tariffs.
Of course, that's what it is.
Not reverse its own 34% reciprocal tariff were a mistake on top of a mistake. It
That's
vowed
what white people. That's what white people do, Joe. When they can't beat you, see, when they can't beat you physically, running or outthink you, they start stealing instead of schemes that they can win. But they messed around. What they do is they mess around. China's now too strong. It's too much of a power now. So China, see, 20 years ago, America could do this, and China would have to bow down. Then I'm just talking about just 20 years ago, within your lifetime, China would bow down and do what they were told to do. But not no more. They now have economic parity with the United States and really manufacturing superiority. Without a doubt, we don't make nothing here. So our economy, Joby, is smoke and mirrors. It's fake. So you can't scare me, Joby. You come to my Keith, you don't do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. I say, Joby, you don't make nothing, baby. What are you threatening me with? Keith, if you do this, I'm not gonna do that. I don't care. Do it. So what? So what, Joby? Do it. Do it. See, white people used to always go around threatening, like they threaten that. Always go around. With them, it's always threats, Joby. Always, we'll wipe you out. We'll destroy you. Blah blah blah. China's now made it such strides in power, and I said, do it. China said, I'm your Huckleberry. Do it. Do it. Pull the trigger.
Exactly. I'd flex the same. Like, who are you talking to? I'd flex the same. Like, if I'm making everything and you're collapsing, like, who are you to talk to me like that? That's
exactly.
I really love
that's
it.
That's why China came out and just told America, hey, we'll copy all your stuff, all of it, and take us to court. We'll just say, so what? Then you can't take it down to your court. You don't got the power. See, that's why you got amass power, Joby, because your court means nothing to me. You can't make me do nothing. You don't got the power to. So I'm stealing your stuff right in your face, and I told you I was gonna do it. What are you gonna do about it? Absolutely nothing.
Now, before I get to read the comments and then share this next video on your screen, they're also saying that it vowed to reasonably take countermeasures, adding that China will fight to the end if the U.S. side is bent on going down the wrong path. That was the Asian markets appeared to improve slightly in early trading, a day after torrid day on the global market that prompted the billionaire investor Bill Ackman, one of the U.S. president's backers in the 2024 race for the White House, to call for moratorium.
A moratorium. He wants to hold on these tariffs. A moratorium. See, they thought they could threaten China like it would be 20 years ago. But China's now the big boy on the block. You can't threaten me. I didn't grow. Okay, it's like your parents would threaten you, Joe, when you were still a child. 25 years ago, China was still a baby, was still a child, right? So you had to listen to your parents and do what they told you. Go to your room, eat your vegetables. But now you're an adult.
Who are you to tell me what to do?
Who you tell me what exactly?
I make choices. Like you kick rocks.
That's right. That's right. China's now all fully grown, Joby.
I can provide for myself. I can do everything without you. So, like, what's
exactly? Exactly.
But shout out to everyone with us on the
and so what Americans feeling. So imagine when you first tell your parents that, and there's shock on their face. That's what Americans experience with China telling them, and they're shocked. And now the child is telling you, what? You ain't telling me to do nothing. Go ahead, Joe.
Your racism. Danny Harrison says, Teddy Roosevelt, is it Roosevelt? With the
Teddy Roosevelt
antitrust laws. That was the aim. That was aimed at David Rockefeller and Standard Oil. And also say Jiba Jaba Karibu Sana. Shout out to Jason. Jason says, my great-great-grandparents and grandparents from the 1800s had pictures of everything coming about in the 1800 roads, automobiles, and etc. Also say Danny says, however, that just made the problem of monopolization worse. Reason being, Rockefeller just purchased majority shares in every oil company.
Everything. Well, he already owned it. When they broke it up, when they were trying to break it up, he still owned all of it. Okay, when they broke up Standard Oil, he said the majority control over all the oil companies that they made the names of. Because remember, Standard Oil becomes Exxon, Mobil, Texaco, Conoco. How many? Do this for me, Joe, real quick. Go to Google and say, when Standard Oil was broken up, how many companies did it become? Yeah, Mobil, Exxon, the same people that run around Nigeria today stealing. Exxon, Mobil, Texaco. Anyway, tell me, Jimmy, how many companies did Standard Oil become when it was broken up? See, this we're talking about Teddy Roosevelt broke up the company, but it made John D. Rockefeller even richer.
They're saying when Standard Oil was broken up by the U.S. government, it was divided into
Exactly.
34 separate companies.
See?
34.
So 34. So there you go. So John D. Rockefeller now went from owning one big company to owning all 34 of those companies, Joe. So he got richer.
Wow. That's why we
Yeah.
have to share all this, literally. I remember you telling me, of course, when I was doing the history of Nigeria and all that. It's crazy. Shout out to Emil Karibu Sana. He says the Renaissance was when Africa Moors came to Europe and civilized and enlightened the hell out of Europeans. They were filthy as hell, as well as monarchs and royalty. And Danny says the word tariff was coined for the Moorish trade.
The Moors came called tariff. Yeah, the actual name of tariff comes from the black individual who raided. It wasn't Tariq. It was actually Tariq who invaded Spain. So tariff came because he told white people, you want to come here, you're going to have to pay a toll. So the name tariff is actually African, exactly. But most people don't even know that. Exactly. That's part of your Renaissance. But they don't mix that in none of your Renaissance. That the name tariff comes from the African ruler of what they call Al-Andalus. Tariff. That's where it came from, his name. But you never taught that. The Africans are wiped out of history. You just, you ain't know what the name. Tariff is the name of an African general who became an African king of Southern Europe, of what we call Spain and Portugal today.
Excuse me. Danny says, yeah, that's the whole concept of an empire. If it isn't constantly growing, then it dies. That's the whole concept.
Exactly.
And
we're now dying.
And you see that the small hearts realized this after Attila. Is it Attila, if I'm pronouncing correctly?
Attila the Hun.
In the Hun, yeah. Attila the Hun was that's why they take covert means as a way to acquire power.
Right. So what Danny said, they go behind, they do secrets, covert. They go behind the scenes, as John F. Kennedy told you before they blew his head off. He said, we got people doing covert means to seek powers. That's what we talk about, the Mossad, the CIA. So they sneakily take power. But now it's in your face. If you don't know America's run by Israel, that you out of your mind. It's in your face. It's undeniable now. It's in your face. I didn't get to do the show this weekend because I was dealing with my children. I didn't get to do the show this weekend. I had my kids begging me for money and stuff. Anyway, and dealing with their problems. I wanted to do that. That was part of what I wanted to do. Talking about who runs America. It's in your face now. If you don't know who runs America, you either a moron or you blind. There's no way you don't see it now. Shout out to even the racist white people are mad. They see it. Yeah, you're late, but they now see it. It's undeniable.
Turned the century 1800s through World War II were brutally explicit. And also see Danny says, he says, looking down on everyone, it is called supremacy, which is white supremacy. And the Jill also says that turn on the century political cartoons were brutal. Danny says that the Gilded Age, that is the Gilded Age, this is how they got the idea to manifest destiny.
Manifest Destiny was before the Gilded Age, Danny. Manifest Destiny is when they first got here, and they said it was God that gave them America, and they needed to kill all the indigenous people here. And so they was manifesting their destiny to take over all America. By the Gilded Age, they already got America, already had America by then. Manifest Destiny was them moving from east to west, going from North Carolina all the way to California, taking the whole plot of land, taking the majority of North America. Remember, they also wanted Canada. People always forget the reason why we went to war in 1812 because the Americans were trying to also take over Canada. They were trying to take that from the King of England. People always forget about that. See, shout out to Canadians talking about now when Trump said we really need to just go back and take Canada and make it a state. Remember, he said we need to make Canada a state. It'd be a great state, but it don't work as a country. We need to because remember, these manifest destiny nuts, they wanted Canada too. They said we're going to take that from the King of England too. And that's the reason why you got the War of 1812. America tried to go take Canada from England. Said we're going to take it. God gave us all this land. So we want Canada too. And so that's what the War of 1812 was about, was America trying to annex Canada, which you got Trump talking that crazy stuff again now. Right? They're still talking about, you know what? Canada can be a great state. It can be a great state. It don't work as a country. We just, instead of being violent, we just annex and become a great state. Canada's like, what are we talking about? We ain't talking about the dirty secret. Nobody wants to be part of America. America don't have any health care. Health care sucks. We're treated like slaves here. We got the worst of everything here. So no one wants to become an American who knows about America. So when they remember also, we need to take over Greenland. Remember, he's talking about taking over Greenland, right? The people of Greenland are laughing. They say, "You think we're going to want to go into America? That despotic hellscape? You know what they call a despotic hellscape? Let me explain it to you, right? The people of Greenland call America a dystopian hellscape. Because let me explain it to you, okay, in case you don't know. In Greenland, since it's part of Denmark, they get free health care. Top-notch health care is free. Okay? America don't got free, so they're like, why would we give our health care? When a woman gets pregnant in Greenland and Denmark, they get a year of paid leave. A year. Not a month, not a couple of days you get in America. They get a whole year to give birth. No one goes bankrupt because they can't afford their bills. Also, they're given an allotment every year to make sure they can survive. So the idea you got that moron J.D. Vance. I'm gonna have Joey pull up that video after he plays him. But J.D. Vance said, you know what? Denmark is not treating the people of Greenland good. Everybody's laughing. Like, what are you talking about? They're not, because they want to steal Greenland because of the resources. That's what America do, steal shit. So they want to steal. Oh, that's for my cursing and wine. Hopefully they mess up the damn monetization. Anyway, they want to steal stuff. So Greenland is laughing. We ain't trying to join no America. You got no free health care. Your educational system sucks. Everybody's broke. You don't give an assistance. He said, you got the vice president of America talking about that Denmark doesn't treat Greenland good. What are you talking about? Really say you crazy? Nobody trying to join the United States. You insane? Are you crazy? You smoking dope? Look at that, Joe.
And then we have Danny, who's saying that's true for the majority of white people. The only place you will see white people that was in America from the beginning was on the East Coast and certain areas in the southern
East Coast and in the South. Exactly, except for Florida, exactly, because they couldn't deal with Florida because of the heat. It's like so you got air conditioning. White people would die of diseases because of the heat. They would die of because since Florida's tropical like Africa, they would die. So you didn't have a bunch of white people living in Florida at that time because the climate was not conducive to them living here. The mosquitoes, the malaria, so they would come to Florida and die. So most of your white people lived in Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama, North Carolina, South Carolina, up along the eastern seaboard. But there wasn't a bunch of them here. And the reason, and after slavery, remember, they were scared, is that it's too many Negroes here. Can we send some back to Africa? Remember, they sent some back to Liberia? They said, can we get these? And even Abraham Lincoln raced his butt. Talking about, you Africans, can we send you back to Africa? Can we send you back there? Put us up real quick, Joey, real quick before you do that. Put us up real quick. Say President Abraham Lincoln wanted to send the slaves back to Africa. He tried 2 years before they shot him in the head. Okay? Hey, I think you Africans need to go back to Africa. We don't want you here. There's too many of you. They don't teach you that in history. He wanted your black ass out of here.
Saying Lincoln desired to return former slaves to Africa, or rather to the
Exactly.
lands, with their consent, and the accord of the authorities of the country where they were to be settled. He
Yeah.
repeated his support for colonization.
But at that time that didn't work. That didn't work because that time Africa was about to be colonized. You couldn't send them there. Europe said, "No, these Negroes are they know too much. No, we need to dump. No. They'll mess up our colonization efforts with the rest of these dumb Negroes on the continent. No, you can't send them here. That's an out. That's a non-starter. You keep them. They're yours now." You can-
It's crazy. Jiba Jaba says they'll say my granddad. My granddad came with a suitcase and he built a business etc, yeah, because it was all laid out for you. And
Yeah, they always say that. Yeah. That's a scandal. White people always tell you. My family came from Europe. We're poor. We got to America and we built everything from nothing. No, you were given everything from nothing. You were given everything off my people's backs. That's they got this the fake story, the white man story that we came from Europe and we built everything from nothing, Jovi. And why can't you dirty Negroes do the same thing?
he says, since we're talking about this, don't forget about all the racist white strikers in the Midwest. You can read
Yeah.
about in the book Sundown Town. And also see, Danny says they didn't just lynch any black man. They mainly lynched black men who owned land. I'll share that also towards there because that
Yeah.
was a big land. I think 270 something acres of land. This guy was killed, and
Yeah, it's
it's,
still in the land because
yeah.
most of our land is gone. They stole it. They stole it. There's never been any recompense, no reparations, no nothing because the government was behind it as well. The government agreed to them stealing our land too. So they work. You got the white immigrants showing up. They're poor and destitute. We want to get land to them so that we steal the land, give them these African people land.
Mhm. Damn. I also see Lando. Nice to see you. Been a minute. Hope you're doing amazing. And then Jiba tells me to check out the Dr. Cloud Anderson. I will. Shout out to also Joa Mosquito. Karibu sana. Hope you're doing amazing. Emil says that's why when they say thank you for your service to activate duty and ex-duty veterans, it means nothing. We're fighting for a useless cause. And General Mosquito says, as in China impose its own taxes. I've not seen that yet, but whatever articles I read is that they say they're just ready for anything. Okay, they're ready for anything. But I also see Big Cheese in the building. Karibu Sana, nice to see you. Says, could it be that China and America are in on these tariffs together, running games on everyone? I wonder.
I don't think they're actually in them, but the same people at the top run both countries. Yeah. So I think you know we know that it's the implosion of America and China was supposed to be the next empire. We know if we find out we got a lot of hats that now moved to China. Ain't that funny? Well, all these hats now moved to China. Why? I wonder why. How? Isn't that funny? Yeah. So the people that run these countries, like I said, yeah, yes, Trump is a moron. And so, but you'll get white people to love him because they remember they own the media, so they made him into a Jesus figure. Trump has never made a profit in his life. He was given $500 million from his daddy, who made money. Trump has failed everything. Trump touched turns to shit. He's a failure, and that's not hard to find out. Go back and check the business records of Donald Trump. He's never made a profit doing anything except for when they put him on TV. And he was doing that TV show. Now, why would a billionaire do a TV show step down? Because he's not a real billionaire. He's a failure. You can't tell when Trump talks, he's an idiot. Well, it's a really big thing here in China. And what I'm saying here is I did everything great. And what I do is great. You listen to a fifth grader talk, a dude with a fifth grade education. He's a moron. But propaganda works so good. He's been marketed so good. He's a successful millionaire. Look at him getting out of his jet plane and his helicopters. Trump. He had all the rappers making rap songs about wanting to be Trump. Just go back and do his business prowess. He failed at everything. And then you find, okay, if he failed, why wasn't he allowed to go bankrupt? Who propped him up? Who gave him money to keep going? The Rothschilds. Every time he failed, the Rothschilds would come and bail him out every time. This is public knowledge. You can go look this up. Who bailed out Trump's company every time he went bankrupt? The Rothschilds would step in because they had plans for him, and these are the plans they got right now. They had planned to make this moron the president. They control all the media. They made him a hero. They made him the fake thing when he supposed to got faked, almost assassinated. He said, yeah, look at me, almost got, look, you tell you got blood on his ear. His ear had no blood.
Yeah.
There's no blood nowhere. Nowhere.
Oh,
And then you have white people talk about, look at Trump, get him like a rock star, and say, yeah, to the assassination. And people like, yeah, Trump, yeah. They were making him a Jesus figure, morons. Go ahead, Joey.
Jabba says Bill Clinton balanced the budget by allegedly supplying China with advanced military technology. They bought trillions of bonds. Now those bonds are worthless. And I also see, I also see he says the same thing with Bell Telephone, and it was broken up into religion divisions. Shout out to UK, W Don, nice to see you. Said Standard Oil was broken up into 34 companies. Yes, that's what we confirmed. And Jiba also says Manifest Destiny C to C. I think Madison.
Exactly. From the Atlantic to the Pacific. Exactly. Way before that, Dan. Way before you got the Industrial Revolution. When these white people got here, they said, we're going to conquer, we're going to kill everybody. We're going to go from Atlantic to the Pacific. That was Manifest Destiny. And they said this country was promised to them by God. It was their divine right to kill everybody here and control it. It's called Manifest. It's our destiny, Joby. So that's the same thing they said in Africa, but they couldn't murder off that. It's our destiny to own Africa and run it.
You dare.
And have it.
The time is coming. The time is. Oh my God, I love what Ibrahim is doing. Oh my goodness, the time is coming up for y'all. It's gonna be over. Just let the youth literally get the renaissance, right? Yeah, let the youth get that awakening mentality. You're gonna be gone. No time for your bullshit. But anyway, as I get into the next video, I'm gonna continue the rest of the few comments remaining. John was great. See you saying Trump is there. He's the real shithole. That's for real. Not Africa, not us. It's him. You know, it's crazy because I was so excited about him winning, but again, understanding all this, they're all the same people.
It did make a difference. He's more than Camilla was going to do the same thing, Joe, but they controlled by the same people. So it didn't make a difference who won. So it's going to be the same thing happening.
He's just done a few things that are correct, but majority of what he's doing is all crazy. Let me share this.
We have to talk about the tariffs. Yeah. What Trump called.
He's talking about the tariffs too.
Liberation Day. There were a few sort of controversies or scandals around his announcement, in that he used a graph showing what he said are the sanctions, or not the sanctions, the tariffs that American products face in other countries, and all of them were wrong. Like every single one of them was wrong. But it seemed to me that it was based on a they just did it. They sort of divided the trade deficit that America has with that country by the amount of imports or exports or something like that. So it was not an exact science at all. It wasn't accurate at all. The chart that he put up. But anyway, that's a different issue. There's the actual reality of what he's imposing, the tariffs that he's actually imposing. And a lot of people are doing all sorts of analysis about, for example, if you're pro-Trump, then you're giving the rationale of how this will boost manufacturing in America how
And
it
it
will
won't.
bring manufacturing jobs back to America,
Back.
Mhm.
It
and
won't.
how it will force countries around the world to buy more American goods and so forth,
It won't.
and create a fairer balance of trade. And then there's the other side, which is saying all of the reasons why that won't work. And I
Exactly.
think that both sides, well, obviously the pro-Trump side is missing the point, but I think that the other side is also missing the point, in that you're making the same mistake that people always make when any politician implements any policy, which is to ever believe the rationale that they're presenting for the policy.
Exactly. They should pause it. To
The
actually
Trump,
believe that they pause it. Yeah, to actually believe that he's saying to actually believe that they're honest actors is that they don't know that what they're doing is wrong. You believe what they do. They know what they're doing is messed up. They know it. Like you see, right? They know. I mean, Trump's an idiot, but the people that's running behind runs him, they know what they got him doing will destroy and collapse the economy. They know it. It's not an accident that they're selling you, like Joby said, selling you bull doo doo. Okay, go ahead, Joby.
the rationale that Trump is presenting for the policy and his people are presenting for the policy is exactly that. It's going to bring back manufacturing jobs and so forth. Your mistake is to believe that that has anything whatsoever to do with why they're doing what they're doing.
Jerome, this guy
Exactly.
is not an AI. Is he talking to you like an AI? Don't you know the AI voice? I know
Yeah,
the AI.
he's not an AI. Jim
God,
Steele, stop getting up early in the morning and walking around London looking crazy.
I know the AI voice even in my sleep. Like what you
I
talking
know.
about?
You need to take a day off,
I've
General.
said
Stop
many
walking around London at 4 o'clock in the morning all the time.
times, and this policy is a proof of it. I've said many times that Trump is a tool or a mascot of the A national OCGFC, that faction of the financial elite, the financial power structure, who have transcended nationalism,
Exactly. National borders.
transcended
They don't
nations,
believe
have
in it.
transcended national boundaries, and so
Exactly.
forth.
They don't believe it. They don't believe in any nation. They believe they're people of the world. They don't have no thing they don't have no loyalty to no nation. They don't care about no United States. Don't care about none of that. About their money and their power and what they can control. He's right about that. Go ahead, Joe.
And feel no loyalty to any country, the United States included.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
that's the faction that he represents, the faction of the power structure that he represents, and it has become the dominant power structure, the dominant faction in the power structure. And this is just this policy is proof of that. And I've said before that Trump's main job is to destroy America,
I said that.
and that's
Exactly.
exactly what this
His
policy
main
is
pause that, Joby.
intended to do.
His main part is to destroy America. Shout out to the white. He's right. I've been saying it. If you're because most people are too stupid to understand. You're saying economics. You understand what you're saying. He is destroying the economy. You will be messed up in 5 years. You will be broke. You will be ashy. You will have taking a bath will be a luxury for you bastards. Okay, this is on purpose, and I knew it. And Joby was asking, Keith, why are you doing something so fast? Because the reason I know something, Joby, and why I'm doing stuff fast.
Yes,
Right?
man.
That's right. That's right. Go ahead, Joby.
That's the intention behind this policy.
Yep.
I don't know how people can always look at these kinds of policies and act like the predictable outcome, the predictable result of these types of policies is a surprise when it happens. This is what they wanted to happen, and this is what will happen. Or rather,
Yep.
this is what will happen, and this is what they want to happen. No one is going to be surprised. Everyone will be surprised if this doesn't work to destroy the economy of the United States. And when I say that, it seems paradoxical to say that Trump is really good for America and he's destroying America. That obviously sounds like a paradox, but that's because you're still thinking of an old mythical
Empire.
America.
Yeah, an own empire.
And America, a version of America as a global hegemon.
As an empire.
But it hasn't
Yeah.
actually been for quite some time.
Yeah, an empire.
And you think that the job of someone who is doing something for America is to try to restore that status rather than face reality. That you don't have that status, you haven't had that status in a long time, and you don't have what it takes to ever
to
have that
rebuild it
status again.
again. Exactly. Pause it.
Those
Pause it. Pause
days
it.
are over.
Pause it. Pause it. Let me say, you don't have it, and let me tell you why you don't have it. I'm explaining it. So I don't know if he's gonna go into context. I'm glad Joby put this up. I don't know, but tell you why you're not gonna regain it. It's gonna break your heart. Most of you Americans are morons. You're dumb as hell. So you know you don't have the educational prowess to even do it. You're mostly stupid. I'm gonna just keep it real. Most Americans are morons. You don't have any understanding how reality works, how things even work on the planet. You've been coddled because you've been living under an empire who's done hegemony, went out stealing everybody's stuff and brought it back for your lifestyle to be better. But like I told you, that's coming to an end. And the fact is, your schools our schools are horrible, on purpose, horrible. Our schools are horrible. Most people read on a second or third grade level. Most people can't speak good English. And this, I'm not saying English should be great, but you're in an English speaking country, and you can't put two sentences together to give me a coherent. I mean, you can't put two words together to give me a coherent sentence. You got goopy mumble rap and people talking about their butt cheeks. What is this? Your art reflects your country. Our art is garbage. Our art is filth. This rap garbage. Yeah, morons. Oh my God. So technically, we've lost the technology war to China. They've already surpassed us technically. So you're not getting that back unless you completely strip and overhaul education. He's tearing down the educational system because they don't tend to bring you back educationally. They want to have you pay to play now. They want to make you like Africa. They want to bring you. They want to have you have school fees now. Ain't that funny? They have decent education. They want to give you school fees. They know most people are poor, so you won't be able to pay for a good school. So it means you'll go to the public schools, which are garbage. So it's the breaking down and the stealing of America bare bones. And I've been saying, I'm good. I've got this white man saying what I've been telling you guys. And I told you, start looking for a way out. Especially if you're getting towards retirement, your Social Security are trying to steal that. They're going to get it. They're going to get your Social Security. They're going to get it. And you'll retire eating dog doo-doo and cat food. Because you understand how, I'm shadow banned, teach you the truth. That's what's happening. America is an imploding empire. It doesn't make anything. So you can't bring manufacturing back here because what? The cost to bring it back is too expensive. You don't have the people that have what? They have the intelligence to even build anything anymore. They don't have those skills. You don't have the skill. You know how it would take. How long it would take to get the skills to even bring back manufacturing? We're talking about 20 years at the earliest. 20 years. But where are you going to get that at? Your schools have been hollowed out. Your schools are dumbed down. And then you're talking about just bringing back, then you're talking about bringing back the facilities that will cost billions of dollars to rebuild the facilities. And then you still have to import, the things you need to build stuff. So you still will be importing stuff to do that. So you understand that? So and then they don't want to pay you because now they want to automate everything. They want to bring robots in. They always want to bring the robots in, and you're dealing with what? A savage country. America's run by savages, evil people. So they're not gonna hire you. I'm gonna build me a robot. AI number 2. He's gonna be doing your job. Okay? So a lot of people, why they're now fleeing America? Because America will be a third world country the next 10 years. 10 years you will be third world. That's a fact. That's baked into the cake. And no one will care about you. You know why? Because you've done, I'm not saying that's personally done wicked stuff. America's done so much wicked, so much evil on the planet. Terrorism, stealing people's resources, stealing people's oil, gold, cobalt, everything. So no one's going to have pity on you when you're impoverished. No one. No one's going to feel sad because America's now a broken up. It's like a broken prostitute on the side of the road. You think anybody cares about that? They drive right past her ass. So, hope she don't give me no age or nothing. And drive right past her ass. You'll be a broken up prostitute on the side of the road. And remember, these are white people here. Imagine what's going to happen to you black people. You should be talking about you're an Indian and all these other dumbass arguments you got. Now, you be worried about how your stomach don't touch your backbone. That's what's coming here. And right, it's a controlled demolition. I don't know if people don't see it. But now I'm being validated of everything I taught you guys. I knew it was cussing. What? Manufacturing? You can't bring your manufacturing back to America. When the average American wants to make at least $30 and $40 an hour. Most Africans only make that in a day. You're talking about an hour. You want to be paid $30 and $40 an hour. Most Africans make $2 a day. Look if they make $2 an hour. So how you going to compete with, I'm putting manufacturing in Africa, and they tell me they'll work for $2 a whole day, and you want $40 an hour. Where do you think I'm going? Going to Africa. I'm not employing you. I'm going to go where I can build a manufacturing cheap and hire cheap labor because they're wicked, right? So they're going to want the cheapest labor. So that's what's happening. Okay? Idea you got manufacturing come back to America. What? We make the work. We used to make the best cars. Now our cars suck. You see them? Have you seen these Chinese cars? Have you seen these Chinese cars? Yeah, they copied them, but they copied and made them better now. Chinese cars are better than American cars, 10 times better. Because the Americans, you made cars and you sat on your laurels. You didn't continue to innovate because you know your white supremacy. You're the best. Any competition, you must continue to innovate. You must continue to innovate, continue to learn, continue to grow. If you stop, you're now stagnant. And America's stagnant. Our cars are garbage. Our TVs that we don't make are garbage. Everything America makes is garbage. Second rate. Right? Even our social media is garbage. Who's on Facebook with a bunch of old deadbeat bastards on that burned out site? Facebook. Who's on Twitter? All these old burned out sites. Instagram. Joby likes it. Instagram's garbage. Who's on it? Hardly nobody. Okay? So you got all dying. Even your tech sucks. Can't compete with the China. Can't compete with the TikToks. Can't compete with the red note. And the other one that had red note. So you try to steal it. Oh, we're going to ban it. And he goes, hey, sell it to me. You see all these American companies want to buy TikTok. They can't create it. They want to ban it so they can steal it. See, they're trying to steal it. That's what the Europeans are always known for, stealing shit. Steal it. So, yeah, this is coming. So I hope you guys got your hope you guys got your money out your 401k. They're going to steal that within the next 5 years. Okay, these are my predictions. I'll do right now, so you won't say I don't know what I'm talking about. Your 401k is going to be gone. You're retired. They're going to get that. Now I'm saying this is the stealing of everything in America now. And they got the moron white people. Yeah, Trump. See, white people don't care about them still as long as they can hate on black people. They have anything bad to them, but I don't care. But you don't got a piano either. But does that negress Joby got a piano? Yes, she does. I don't like it. But you got one now. So what? She got one. I'll do everything to stop it. So they know that's your behavior, right? So as they implode the country and steal everything, but they know you're not gonna be upset. You're not gonna be upset. That's why they put Trump in there. Trump is just why they made you love him. Why he's imploding the country around your dumb ass. A lot of you mega morons are waking up because he's messing with your money, but you're too late. You're too late. It's baked into the cake. You're too late. So they're gonna go for your Social Security. They will tell all these mega morons that your Social Security is an entitlement program. Guys, your Social Security is not an entitlement program because every week you get paid, or every 2 weeks in America, that comes out of your check automatically. You don't even see it. So that's not knowing, but they're fake media owned by the hats. Keep telling you, oh, there's too many entitlement programs. Social Security is entitlement. It's like welfare. How? Social Security was always solvent because you paid Every week, every 2 weeks, you got paid out of your check. You never even seen that money. You never seen that money. And now they tell you it's insolvent. They need to take it over so they can save it. Save it from who? Because the government has been stealing out of the Social Security fund, which was illegal. That's a sovereign fund, guys. Social Security was sovereign and didn't and also sovereign. But they want that money. They want all of it. And that's why they keep talking about Social Security. Social Security is not an entitlement. It has nothing to do with welfare, food stamps, or none of that. Do this for me real quick, Joby. You there? Or you go to the bathroom?
I'm here.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Joby's sick, guys. That's why we didn't do the show yesterday. Joby's got the flu. I want you to look this up. Say the United States Social Security Fund is a sovereign fund and not an entitlement. Oh, no. Just say Social Security. Say the United States Social Security is not an entitlement program. Let's see, because they on Google too. Let's see if they lie, because they're trying to steal that too. They want to leave you butt naked and broke by the side of the road like an old dirty whore.
The same. Okay? All too often, the other side of the ISOL refers to Social Security as an entitlement.
It's not. Pause it, Joby. So tell you they refer to it. That's the catch on the media. It's not that, but that's in your mind. They got all these white people talking about Social Security. How's it an entitlement? If Joby's paying me money every month to keep her money, then give it back to her 20 years later with an interest and more money, how is me keeping Joby money? And that's her money. How is it an entitlement? I say, Joby, this is entitlement. I shouldn't get this back to you. Like, Keith, that's my money. I gave it to you. What do you mean? Well, it's an entitlement. It's like welfare. Like Joby said, it's not no welfare. I gave you my money. That's my money. You didn't give me nothing. You give me back my money. That's all you're doing, Keith. But see, through their propaganda, as you're about to read, they got white people thinking that this is an entitlement. How can be entitlement as Joby's is my money? Go ahead, Joby.
Elon Musk already talked smack about it, so anyone should understand.
Exactly. And because they know he says that they've dumbed you down on purpose so they can steal everything as the country implodes. Moron Elon Musk, who's clearly got Asperger and partially retarded. That's another idiot. But go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, so they're saying all too often the other side of the ISOL refers to Social Security as an entitlement. That is simply wrong. It is the insurance Americans have paid for to fund retirement, disability, survivor benefits through a lifetime of work. I recently spoke up in the Ways and Means Committee to defend the program. That is what it's.
Yeah, it's great. And Social Security is very successful. How can it fail if everybody's paid their money in? See, they don't want to. The government has been stealing your money for years. They've been stealing from Social Security. They never told you that. That's not no entitlement. You didn't put your money in your whole life since you started working at 16. Your whole life, that money's been coming out of your check since you were 16 years old or whenever you started working. Every job you had, that money comes out automatically. So what entitlement are they talking about? That's your money. You're getting it back later on when you're old and washed up. That's the money you put in. You don't get no more money than you put in there. So you've been working for now 50 years. That's the money that was saved up by the government.
Excuse me.
For you to at least retire with dignity. Okay, retire with dignity, so you're not out there on the street eating cat food and have to talk about, hey brother, can I suck your penis for $3?
No chitlins.
Right? no, and eating chitlins. Right? That was Joby's a chitlin eater talking her trash. eat maybe not pig, but goat and beef chitlins. Anyway. That's not an entitlement program, but that's what they told you for years in their media so they can steal it from you. That's why Joe said Elon Musk is talking about it. I told you they want to steal your money. It's trillions of dollars in that fund, and they want it. They want to steal it. And you need to know that. And they're going to try to steal it. I'm telling you. That's why they're talking. They want that money. They're going to try to steal that money. And have these mega morons, oh, Trump says he's going to take the Social Security. Good, I don't want no black people to get it. That's your money too, dummy. Yeah, what? Is it? I don't care. I don't like Negroes. But go ahead, Joe. Let them play.
Go back.
Over. They were very short. That period of history was very short. And like I've also said before, it's going to be the shortest empire in history. Trump is good for America insofar as he's doing the needful. He's doing the needful. That's going to be, that will cause a great deal of pain for the American people. But the simple fact is that there's no way around that. And it can be done like in a state of denial over, painful erosion over time, or you can just amputate the limbs rather than letting them rot on your body. This is what's happening now. It's just amputation. The federal government is going to be increasingly weakened as a governing entity.
It's going to be husked out.
More and more aspects of the government are going to be privatized.
Privatized. Private partner. Exactly. That's how you steal a country. Exactly. So what they were bringing to Africa. I finally explained it to Demore. He understands it now. No, Demore. This is not good for Kenya. This is how theft happens. They're gonna privatize and then start raising the rates on you. This is how they do. This is wicked. Go ahead, Joey. You think your electric bill's high now? Watch and see.
And this is just the way it has to go. There's not another way it can go. If you're from the A National OCGFC, and if you were looking at the American economy in the context of the global economy, say 10 years ago, if you looked at America, their demographics, the state of their economy, meaning everything that their economy relies upon, and then look at the trajectory of that, the predictable trajectory of that, you would conclude that
the future is over.
As I say, within the context of the global economy and the very boisterous future of the global South, where all the minerals
of Africa,
are, where all the resources are.
Exactly. Pause that. I try to explain this to you, morons, you FBA morons. When I tell you Africa is the future, I tell you because I know what I'm talking about. Africa has the youngest population. The manufacturers got to go there next because it's the cheapest place to build shit. So the manufacturer's going to go where the resource is at. What he telling you is the truth. Now you need to get in control of them because you're African. I'm trying to teach you this. Africa will be the richest place on the planet within 25 years. Not China. Africa will be. All the resources there. You got American, you got a dying population. And you all, I'm not African, I hate Africa. Okay, well, hate it. You're going to be a poor fighting white people over a crumb of old dirty bread, leftover mac and cheese. That's what's going to happen to you. Because you got a place to go. Africa doesn't want all these white people there. You got a place to go. But hey, you turn your back. You're now an Indian. I'm in there. You're now Cochise. You're now Cochise and hate Africa. Don't you understand this is a psyop? So he's telling you the global South. He's telling you the global. He means Africa. Everybody told him, we know the minerals come from Africa, like he said. The global South is Africa. That's what he's talking about. And everybody knows it. Unless you're not stupid. I told you the writing on the wall is going to be Africa. Period. No matter what you think of Africa today, 30 years Africa will rule this planet. Africa will be the most developed place on the planet. Africa where all the wealth would be. and I'm getting in now. I'm getting in where I fit in. You people be talking about you're Indian while you can't even afford underwear. All the secondhand clothes will be sent back to America. You'll be wearing that shit. Okay? That's your future. What he tell you? You'll be wearing some old lady's drawers with doodoo stains on them. Talking about I'm an Indian. talking about I'm an Indian. And Tariq, Tariq will leave your ass me, send his ass to South Africa talking about, I don't know what they talk. I was never with that hate Africa stuff. You know, he changed his whole stripe. I was never talking that hate Africa stuff and people having fucked up hairlines. That wasn't me. They took it and made it that. Not me. But go ahead, Joe.
Where all the where the birth rates are continue to be robust, you would understand that we need to decenter the global economy from America.
The birth rates continue to be robust. Who's got the biggest birth rates? Oh, the Africans. So you need workers. So when the birth rates continue to be robust, even though they tried to wipe you out, that didn't happen. So everybody can see the writing on the wall. It's going to be Africa. And that's what he's telling you without saying the name Africa. But go ahead, Joe.
As I said before, the center of gravity has to move. America can't keep up. America hasn't been competitive in the world for a long time. And they've made the decision that we have to amputate America basically from the global economy and from global politics. It needs to be removed. And that's exactly what's happening. If you understand that is what's going on, then none of this will be confusing to you, what Trump is doing. That you're proposing this idea that tariffs are going to bring back manufacturing jobs. You will understand how ridiculous that is. And you will understand that isn't someone being ridiculous.
Okay, I need for you to elaborate. Why is that ridiculous to have manufacturing back in the United States? I think this is going in over a lot of people's minds, brains.
Okay, well, I mean,
it's obvious to you.
Okay,
you know.
Well, I mean, the first thing is everyone should know by now that tariffs are not paid by the country that's being tariffed. Tariffs are being paid by the importers, domestic businesses, domestic companies, domestic importers, Americans. So it's a tax. You're putting a tax on Americans for importing things.
Okay.
Roughly 50% of American imports are internal to American companies.
Okay.
So it's like, for example, Apple importing from China something within Apple.
Right.
You know, okay. Obviously, all that does is drive up the prices of goods because you don't have an alternative. It would be different if you actually had a manufacturing base in America, but you don't have manufacturing in America anymore.
Why don't you have a manufacturing?
Because you offshored it all during globalization.
Right. So can we bring that manufacturing back into America? Was that
okay? First of all, that's a very long process.
Okay.
Because no one's trained in that anymore.
No one's skilled.
You don't have the skills, and you need a great deal of investment to build those factories, to build the.
That's what I said. Pause that, Joe. That's what I said. Pause that. Yes, I told you. You don't have the skills no more. Your people are stupid. You don't have the skills. The investment would be trillions of dollars, and the building of manufacturing would take you 20, 25 years to remanufacture, to build America back into industrial base. You destroyed that. You don't have the skills. Okay? And then another thing, you're not going to have people in America working for $5 an hour. You're not going to do it. So how's manufacturing coming back to America when I can go to Africa and takes about $5 an hour, and that's a damn raise for them? You like $5? You know, girl, they trying to tell me I was working here for $5 an hour. I told them, you better kiss my ass. $5 an hour. Think you talking to? Exactly. So, no. America's going to completely be imploded. And then you won't have the money anyway to bring back manufacturing because you're going to be broke. You won't have the money. So it would have to be organic. And you're talking about, man, what? You're talking about 100 years. 100 years, no. America's a falling empire. It's going to stay falling. You will be a third world country within 10 to 15 years. That's your future in America. It's baked into the cake. And the rest of the world will not be upset because you've been wicked. You know, the people that steal the money, they're going to be living in Africa and all these other places. While the world going to be blaming you, laughing while you living in third world country with your damn secondhand clothes with doodle stains on your ass. Yeah, no one's going to care because America's been a wicked country, evil, killing, murdering, raping. No one's going to be concerned about you struggling. Oh, you know, it's so poor and struggling. So what? Shut up. Go dig some clothes out that secondhand pile over there. Go ahead, Joey.
And those companies have to have the incentive to do that. The theory is that by punishing them for manufacturing overseas but via tariffs, that will incentivize them to bring back to America. But that's not how companies think. Because if you brought the money, just say Apple. If Apple wanted to stop manufacturing in China and bring all of those jobs to America, you have to deal with the reason why they're in China in the first place, which is the affordability. So either you're going to now have factory workers in America at Chinese wages to make it worthwhile.
That's it. I told you the wages. Exactly. They're not going to do it. The wages. Go ahead, Joey.
An iPhone is going to cost $10,000.
Exactly.
So let's repeat that again. Unless you're willing to have American workers
work for Chinese wages.
Chinese wages.
And conditions.
You're
going to be 7 days a week.
Right. I don't know, 9-10 hours a day.
No days off.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even more.
No days off. Yeah. Pause it. Like you say, are you gonna work Chinese when you work every day? You get no day off. 7 days of work, 7 days a week. You're working 12, 13 hours a day, and you're making $6 an hour. You gonna do that? You gonna bring back that to America? Please. Go ahead, Joby.
Hours of sleep, and then you get back to work again. And you can still have your iPhones at the kind of prices that you're seeing today. If not expected to.
This is not going to happen.
It's not
Obviously, this is not going to happen.
Yeah.
And this is what the other side is saying. You know, the people who are critical of the tariffs, they're saying that that's not going to work. But what I'm saying is, no, everyone knows that already. Because that's not the intention of it, is to isolate America from the global economy.
Yeah.
And to force all of the tariffed countries, especially the BRICS ones, especially China, to focus on, intensify, and expand South-South trade.
Okay.
We want all of the business to be there now. We don't need the business to be here anymore. Because, I mean, obviously, the result of the tariffs is going to be higher prices for goods. Now, I was saying in the chat that most likely, and I'd be very surprised if you don't see this, most likely you will see, and this also, there's an evidence for this is also the stock market drop that happened when he announced the tariffs. And it also is evidenced by the drop in the oil price as well, which is that these companies, the biggest companies, the monopolistic companies, the largest corporations like an Apple or Walmart, who rely heavily on imports from China, they will want to get some relief from the federal government. They will want to get subsidies. They'll want to get exemptions. They'll want to get bailout, an aid package, low interest loans, tax breaks, and so forth. So to soften the blow of the sanction, or to soften the blow of the tariffs. In other words, they won't pay the tariffs. The taxpayers will pay the tariffs on their behalf, which just means that taxpayers will be paying the tariffs, and the company will still charge more on the rationale of that there are tariffs. So the taxpayers in America are now going to be paying twice for the tariffs. You'll pay for the tariffs with your taxes. This hasn't been announced, but I'd be very surprised if it doesn't happen. That there's going to be for the largest players, not for the smaller ones, not for the smaller companies. Another part of this move is to shake all of the smaller players out of the market. Small businesses will get bought up. More and more small businesses will get bought up, and this is just
exactly that's the bank oligarchy. This called monopoly. That's right. The thing is to bankrupt the smaller companies, break their backs, and let the Amazons, the Walmarts again, not have to pay the tariffs, and they consolidate their power by buying up the small guys, breaking your back. So everything white people build is always predatory, even on themselves. So, mom and pop, you're about to be out of work because this is a collapsing of a country. I don't know why people couldn't tell. I told you that what they were doing. Oh, this Trump, yeah, Trump. All right, they're collapsing the country, guys. They need to collapse it because America's not been profitable for them, and the cats own the government. They wanted to move. That's why they moved it. Ain't it funny? Who decided to move it? They never asked me, who decided to move everything to China? How was that a decision even made? Who would decide to move everything? Remember, China's always been our enemy. It's communism, they tell you. But the hats who created communism, they created that fake doctrine. They created China. So they were already maneuvering us this way. Because who would decide what moron? Okay, I'm in Joby's house. Joby's in my. Why would I decide to give Joby all my shit? And Joby's my enemy. Joby's my enemy. I'm going to give Joby all of my stuff that I make money with. I'm like, you know what, Joby? I don't even like your ass. I don't like you, Joby. You're no good. You're no good. Kenyan, I don't like your ass. But I'm going to give you all my stuff so you build it and you'll get rich and you sell it back to me at a cheap price.
Are you
What? Yeah. What? Who would even do that? But America did that because you were controlled by the Israelis. That's why. The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's no accident China became a power. That was the plan. Now they're imploding you. So they got no allegiance. What are you wicked racists gonna do when you're poor and black people? I feel sorry for you. You're just as poor as them. Everybody gonna be around here poor. Jobs gonna be scarce because you don't make anything. Nobody. And so when you go into, we don't export nothing. So what's gonna be the economy here when they implode it? It's about to be Mad Max over here. It's gonna be Joby's Mad Max Thunder Road over here.
This remaining part of the video I'll share tomorrow is a whole 30 minutes still remaining on it. Him explaining, talking about this. Yeah, and then I'll also share the linking of Reverend Isaac Simon also tomorrow on the conversation we shall be having as we continue with all this conversation of tariffs. So let me go through the comments very quickly as we get to wind up. It's raining here. I don't know what's the weather on you guys' end. It's been raining.
Wow. You got something to cover your head, Joby?
Yeah, I got plenty of sweaters.
All right, well, it's gonna be rough getting back home then.
I just call my boda guy, but our bodas have an umbrella when it's raining.
Oh, wow! Watch out! So thoughtful.
Yeah, so we will not be rained on.
Umbrella ain't gonna fight no lion.
That's
it. Good. Go ahead, Joby.
That's so true. But I see earlier we had let me see where I left the comments. Jiba Jaba was talking about Trump should be on Mount Rushmore. Fight. Where's my shoes? See, John Mosquito says, I get the feeling Ibrahim Traore has been listening to Brother Keith's shows. Lol. I hope so. We would love to have him here, man. I'd love to. That guy's really doing amazing.
We got to go there. They kill him and they try to kill him. Kenya with Museveni and Ruto. We got to go there.
Yeah. Jiba Jaba says, let me see. Yes, John Mosquito commentary through voice recording getting commented. He's not an AI, you guys. This guy is not an AI. We've shared a couple of his videos
No,
here.
it's not an AI, Jones. I told you. Stop running around damn London in the middle of the night.
And I also see Lando says, Keith has hit all the points today. I cannot give my perspective because I'm still with the unit. And then I also see Jason said, robots better pay taxes and have $1 trillion spending process. And then Jiba Jaba says, forget a piano. If you have a slice of bread, they are coming for
All right. All right, Jibba Jabba. Good piano. If you got a slice of bread, they come together. All right.
they're coming for that salad you're eating too. Keith, careful.
They're not gonna sit in the conveyors like Joby. They're not gonna walk the conveyor. Say, it's sad. They're gonna tear it down. And say, hey, we can't be living up in here. What's wrong with you?
Kibera, I don't know what Shumani was talking about, but I didn't see no apartments, man. Kibera is
Yeah.
Kibera is messed up.
I ain't seen them with I ain't seen them with Spikes with this 7 years ago. Look
Yeah,
at in that store. Nah.
the apartments are like what you see in South Africa, the government, and then you have Kibera.
Exactly. It's
Yeah,
horrible.
yeah. Also, see, Big Cheese says black people always remember whenever things fall apart, white folks fall back. Thinking is to harm black people, and
Yep.
then. Mm-hmm,
Exactly. That's it. A big cheese is saying that's right. That's the default position. To
mm-hmm,
always hurt us.
mm-hmm.
Imagine they all
John.
poor now.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna be poor, they're gonna be angry. Their default position is somehow to blame black people. Got no control over nothing. Go ahead, Joe.
John Mosquito, I prefer having a manual piano than an electrical one. I prefer manual. And then Victor says white folks been focusing on black people all this time. Meanwhile, the people that Tariq Nasheed will not name have been planning this for 100 years.
Exactly.
Shut your mouth.
Exactly. Big T. Big T said it so exactly.
Excuse me.
That's what I wanted to do. Show Big Cheese is talking about, but I had my dang kids to worry about. I'll do this week. I'm so mad I didn't get a chance to do it because what Big Cheese said is so because they know they're agents. And I know these morons are agents. They never would mention the unmentionable, who we know what's going on. And a lot of these white racists are realizing too. They know what's going on. They know what's going on. It's in I bet you comments. You controlled by the J's. The J's control you niggas.
We have some comments as a matter of fact on there as we get to wind up. And then we
Wow.
have him. Juba Jaba says it's a play on words. You are entitled to the money in your trust account, not the trust account is an entitlement. They play on the stupid Americans. And then he says we'll be eating the cat. Oh my god, the cat chitlins. Juba Jaba,
That's
you
right. Feeding the cats. That's how bad it's gonna be, Joby. Gotta eat
oh,
something, so now we'll gut the cat and eat the cat chitlins. We
oh
eat the
my
cat intestines. That's
god.
right.
Next time come to Kenya, I'll give you the goat chitlins instead. As a
Joby
matter
said
of
Joby said she's gonna donate the goat chitlins instead. Okay.
yeah, instead of the pig ones and the pig
Okay.
feet. Yeah.
Asante Sana. see, Joby got it right. Joby called it the pig, but last week Joby called the feet of pig.
Yes, and also see Big Cheese was saying to John Mosquito, you ever seen that old black and white photo of Rockefeller? He looks like an alien.
Bro,
Okay.
bro, look crazy. He don't look human. Exactly right. He don't even look human. Bro, Joe.
Mm-hmm. And then also see Emil says a lot of black folks I see in these YouTube streets are done, especially the FBAs, the FBIs or the
Mm-hmm.
FBI. They are
FBA's.
they wholeheartedly believe they are indigenous here and they will not leave the country. And then we have Emil also says they are not taking they're not taking heed. They really think we'll be okay. I'm sorry, I'm really struggling to read because my eyes are really kinda itchy
It's okay,
and
Joe. It's
yeah.
okay. You can wrap it up. You're
It's okay.
sick.
Let me finish up the comments. I see Emil also say Jerome Mosquito says let me read that. No, I haven't seen it. He says he hasn't seen it. Then we have Let me see. Just a minute. Okay, then we have Byron Scott says, who's supposed to do all these manufacturing jobs if by chance they come back with an aging population like we have in America? The youths.
And,
I mean, if you're talking about Africa, it's us. I don't know what you're talking
yeah, you
about.
got but you guys have America's an aging population, Joe. So no one wants to bring manufacturing. Old people can't build nothing. So you want to go where all where there's a youthful population, Joe. So the
Exactly.
majority, so Africa's population is mostly all young people.
Hmm. And then Joshson says, my cremation Mabel Tombstone will say I was in the world but never was part of it. All right, Jason. Always love that comment of yours. And then Jiba says, and saying, how did America get like this? We didn't see this coming. Big Cheese also says, when it gets that bad, I'm going to work at Umar Johnson School and Tariq's hidden.
they're, they're on two sides of the country. Remember, Umar, bless you, Joby. Umar school's over in dang Delaware, and Tariq's Hidden History Museum is in California, L.A. That's two opposite sides of the country. That's like being in Mombasa and Kisimu in Kenya.
And then Jason says, John Muscular says, I think my sports shoes was made in Indonesia. And then Jason says, hot California weather outside. Okay, that's nice. It's sunny. It's been sunny here too, but kind of, I think for me, I was feeling cold, but it's been kind of cold lately. The weather is just so unpredictable. Rainy,
Because you got the flu.
yeah. And then, yeah, it's a flu outbreak, actually. I don't even know where I got the flu because no one around me has a flu. It's crazy. And Jason says, why people will sell their pianos to Fox in Mad Max times. And he
Yeah,
also asks,
that's
why
right. That's right. But not Mad Max. It's gonna be Joby's Mad Max. It's gonna be Thunder Road out here. I ain't seen that movie yet. Thunder
yeah,
Road, baby.
that was nice. I've watched that over and over again. That was
Do
crazy.
you
I love
do you, do you, want, do you want to live in those kind of times, Joby?
Oh no.
That's it.
I just love the movie. I just love the
All right,
movie.
good.
I don't want to live there. No way. Hell no. Let me stay here in Kenya. Let me be messed up here. It's the future. Let me be here where there's a future. But anyway, family, we're coming to the end of today's conversation.
Just
You
love
guys,
family.
thank you so much for keeping the conversation engaging. Of course, you guys.
I do the same shows that Big Cheese wanted me to do this Friday and Saturday about the Tariq thing. Then Saturday I want to talk about who actually runs America. You guys already know, but I wanted to go in depth about who actually runs this country and who runs this planet. But Friday I'm gonna do the Tariq thing. That was so easy. And that's a guilty pleasure. I wanted to beat up on him some more anyway. That's a guilty pleasure. I always try not to, but that's a guilty pleasure.
Mm. But yeah, much love.
uh,
Everybody. Have yourselves a beautiful day. Take care. Be safe. Watch what you're eating. Don't eat do not eat no pig foods.
Chillings,
Other
Bigfoot.
and
we
chitlins.
get we get
Add
jump here. We get jump here. Bigfoot. Jump here like, oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever ate. I need
Nah,
some ugali with this.
hell no. No. I don't even eat pork anyway. I don't even eat
I
pork
know.
anymore. So nah,
Me neither no more. Me neither
spare,
no more.
spare me. But yeah,
But
bring me some
much love,
chitlins.
family.
Maybe I'd not know. But the pig foods and all that, nah.
All right, exactly. I'm sorry, Jesus is black. Don't stone me. Exactly right, Big Cheese. That's great.
Much love, family. Have yourselves a beautiful day. Once again, see you guys tomorrow. Same time, same place, right here. Peace. We out.
Oh, you got ear infection. That's even worse than Joby's. Much love,
Mm,
guys. Ear
yeah.
infection, man. Ear infection drive you crazy, jibber jabber. Wow, ear infection is painful as hell.
What's that? What's the ear infection? Yeah. Oh, ear
What?
infection. Yeah,
Yeah,
infection.
yeah. Ear
Um.
infection is bad,
Oh,
Joby.
I
You ever had
know.
one?
Yeah, my ears used to. I used to
Wow,
have a ear problem when I was young, but
wow.
it doesn't happen anymore. It's painful. I know the pain. So try
Yeah,
read Jibba get some medication. I don't know. For me, I used to put those drops and all that, and it stopped and all that.
yeah. Because it's an
Drops.
infection. Yeah, that's antibiotics.
Yeah, so much love, family. See you guys tomorrow, man.
What's up, guys? What's up, guys?
Now do this for my real, my bro, now my day ones for the love and support.